Hey, good morning. Coffee topic this morning. It has been a few minutes, and I will be honest with you. Uh, I am still recovering. I don't know what got a hold of me in DC. It started with like a major allergy attack, and my voice started to go immediately. By the next day, it was almost gone. I think it was a Thursday. Flew home, and then, of course, tree pollen was just out of control here as well. So then I got hit with a different kind of tree pollen. But anyway, my voice was completely gone. Couldn't even whisper for 3 days over the weekend, Friday through, into Monday. It got a little bit better. It was really bad. Absolutely terrible. I probably did some damage to my vocal cords, a little bit, stress maybe. And it's still have some pain, but that's why it's been a hot minute. I think it's been a straight 10 days of just voice uh, cracking and just not being good. And it's still terrible. I think it sounds terrible still. So, but I wanted to talk this morning about something that I have been seeing online, and that was this notion of I'm not a safety professional. I think the joke was I'm a safety influencer, and it's like what the hell? It's like that plays well on social media, but go into an interview, right, and start talking like that. Nobody talks in an interview or in person like they would talk online, right? And certainly not the slang and the shortened words and jargon that nobody there is a whole different persona you can take on online that really doesn't translate well to real life. And I think, and that's okay, right? You got somebody who's doing a TEDx talk or a TED talk, and they have to be very dynamic and they have to change their voice and up and down. That's okay. They're not going home and talking with their family like that. They're not. That's okay. But sometimes we get this confused. We have this online persona where you've got your LinkedIn, description or your little tagline, and it's like it's cute and funny, but you go to a job site or into a manufacturing facility or talk to executives or as a safety professional and do your reports on the current state of safety. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have a different conversation. You have to be able to have that conversation. And in that way. So this notion of I'm not a safety professional. Look, I think that if you, I mean, I get it. Competence doesn't magically appear. And competence is something you have to develop. I am a competent professional at this thing. The confidence comes from that competence, right? This whole fake it till you make it thing that was online for a while, and you could see through that. You can tell somebody who's just getting started, but they're trying to pass themselves off as experts. And hey, I'm not an expert at everything. I'm still learning all the time, constantly. But you can see when it's like it's sort of this facade, right? So the fact that we should stop calling ourselves safety professionals because our credentials, it's not about our credentials, it's about how we conduct our work. It's how we perform. It's how we execute. It's how we engage with people. It's how we communicate. Okay, yeah, but they're not mutually exclusive. What I'm seeing and the way I'm reading this is you want to swing the pendulum all the way to the other side. You want to say, don't list your credentials. No, don't call yourself a safety professional. I'm a safety influencer. I'm a safety wizard, or I don't, whatever. Dude, that's fine. call yourself whatever you want online. I'm very protective of my profession. This is an industry. It is a recognized profession. I think we should go further with this profession and establish universal standards by which we all have to measure ourselves, right? And should measure ourselves. And you got doctors, lawyers, engineers, CPAs, you have HR professionals, safety professionals. We need to establish, sort of solidify our place in the business world as technical, even legal expertise, expert advisors that come with some credentials. Now, I agree, just because you have some letters behind your name doesn't mean you're going to be good. Just like doctors, lawyers. So that's like stating the obvious. It's everybody knows that. I read this stuff and I'm like, you're saying nothing. You're just trending. You're just trying to it's like clickbait. The old joke was, what do you call the student that finishes last in their class at med school? Doctor. The joke is, just because they graduated and they are a doctor doesn't mean they're good. You have to also be good. This has been around forever. So I love the folks that pick a camp. Either side, by the way. You need your CSP. Well, you've got to be capable, right? You've also got to be good at what you do. You've got to have good personality. You got to have these other things that you bring. And if you can go the other way. I know some folks that were very engaging and sociable and likable. People loved them, and they couldn't remember a reg to save their life. They just didn't get it. And that's not helpful. It doesn't matter how engaging you are if you don't understand the basic fundamentals of occupational safety and health management at its core, right? And I have seen safety professionals that are managed by these people. We have today in corporate America, we have safety directors, like managing safety teams, that are not qualified. They don't even have a safety background. And some people say, "Oh, Blaine, you don't need to go to safety school to." Yeah, but there's a difference between being formally educated, and this is where I'm advocating for my profession. We need to act like professionals. And there's a difference between advocating for credentialing and standards and having some sort of formal training and background, right? And then combine that with this: you're the right person for the job, you have a track record, those types of things. Those things have to go together. What we've done is we've said, "Oh, they don't matter as long as you're engaging and as long as you can change hearts and minds. We could plug in this other stuff." So what you end up with is you hire somebody based on personality and they interview well. You promote them based on that. And then all they know is company safety rules. A company safety rule isn't occupational safety and health management. It's not the fundamentals and principles of occupational safety and health management. The OSH Act and the laws and that do overlap in some way, shape, or form with labor laws, environmental regulations, and permitting and things like. They know the company rules, and that's their limitation. They can't even think outside of those confines. And so we have teams of safety professionals that are trying to advocate for changes, investing in technology or training or material changes based on a risk assessment, and we're trying to articulate that. And then we've got these leaders, these approving authorities that are like, yeah, they're never going to go for that. That's not on our radar. We're trying to get this other initiative passed, and they can't carry the water for us to the C-suite. And so you might say, well, we need to be better at educating them and managing up. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But at what point does the safety professional hit that wall and say, these folks aren't serious. They're not even safety professionals. They don't understand us. Now, there is a line, right? I don't expect the CEO of the company to be a safety professional. Everybody answers to somebody. But if you're managing the safety team and the safety program, and you don't have that background, professionally speaking, because it is a profession, right? That's where we have problems. And I really don't care how fun you are to be around and how sociable you are. You need both, is my point. It isn't one camp or the other. Uh, drop the whole credentials thing. We don't need to talk about your credentials. You just need to be a good person. Yeah, but being a good person with credentials is even better, right? It's even better. So, look, this isn't a hobby. This isn't a hobby that we're engaged in here. Why do we keep watering this down? This is one of the only professions where we do this. Oh, anybody can do safety. As a matter of fact, some companies, they'll take somebody that got injured, and now guess who's the new safety coordinator for that area or that department? Yeah, like it's a punishment. Oh, well, they learned the hard way. So who better to advocate for not doing that again than that person? And then we stick them in charge, and then they kind of learn as they go. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. The OSHA 30 hour is not a certification. It isn't. It isn't even meant for safety people. Why are we still talking about the OSHA 30 hour? So, we need to have these standards in credentialing, like CPAs, like HR professionals, like engineers, lawyers, that kind of, we need to elevate the level of our profession, which is the root word of professional that operates and practices in that profession. That's what we need to do. Why do we undermine ourselves? Even fellow safety professionals, they're like, I don't refer to myself as a safety professional. I'm like, you better start, especially if you're looking for a job. Because I'm telling you, that language is going to change when you need to dust off your resume because layoffs came around or you ran into one of these leaders that you say is more important than having credentials and understanding the technical aspects of managing safety programs. And you're like, this is crazy. I got to get out of here. I guarantee you're going to walk into an interview and the last thing you're going to say is how engaging and sociable you are. You're going to lead with, this is what I know. This is what I've done. You're going to combine those things, right? You do have to interview well. But we've seen those folks that interview well and then they get there and you realize, wow, they actually don't know anything. And I'm sorry, as an expert witness, having written drafts for cases, never gone to trial, they always usually settle out, and understanding how even in the legal sense, an expert witness is treated and has to be vetted and established as an expert witness. Trust me when I say there is a recognized profession in what we do. Try that in front of a jury or in front of a judge. I don't really have any credentials. I don't really need any. I win hearts and minds and people love me. And yeah, we'll see. So that's my gripe. It's my old man get off my lawn today, actually for this week. I love this topic. I think we need both. I mean, I understand what they're saying. I've got a catchy little tagline on LinkedIn. I teach businesses how to keep their employees safe. I'm certainly not going to have the hubris to say I'm a safety influencer or worse, thought leader. What is that's again, that stuff only exists online. I'm not going to get my business to put that on my business card. It's kind of hokey too. It's kind of weird. Anyway, what do you think about this topic? Do we try to pick this or that? Is everything binary, or is it all the things at some degree all the time? Right? And yeah, so to be clear, I know CSPs and folks that have graduated that just really couldn't tell safety, couldn't talk their way through a safety talk, a toolbox talk. They're terrible, right? They're absolutely terrible. But I know people that can captivate an audience and are engaging that don't know a lick about safety management and would really expose the company to some risk, the workers to some potential risk because they don't have that fundamental understanding. But if you can combine those two, that's a safety professional. That's what we should expect. And it's okay to talk about your credentials. Hey, man, you went and got your master's degree. I know I did. I did that. I went back to college when I was 29 and had a newborn at home. I'm proud of what I did. I want to protect the sanctity of my profession, and I want us to think of ourselves and regard ourselves as professionals, right? This isn't a hobby. This is our livelihood, and what's at stake matters. Matters to our businesses, our companies, and it also matters to the workers. And that's what I think we bring to the table. We bring all of it. So drop your comments on this rant, and I'll continue to nurse this voice. It's not there yet, and I'll get there, but let me know what you think. I look forward to reading your replies.